Alright, so now that we got the Loctite on our 3 screws, there, and there, tighten them down. I just, when you first get the kit, do not give it any hop. Just tighten the hop-up screw down till it's flush with the brass piece. That way you can insert it into the receiver. Okay? Don't give it any hop. When you look down the barrel, you should see no nub in there at all. It should just be a circular bore with no protrusions, okay? If you try to add hop before you break in your kit, you will rip your bucking. I guarantee it. So don't do that. Alright, so next we're going to make our assembled inner barrel, which I like to polish inside and out because I'm weird like that. But definitely polish the inside if it's a brass barrel. I heard good things about the Prometheus stainless steel 603, or I don't know if they have a 605 stainless steel barrel, but if you can get a stainless steel barrel, I hear good things about them, and I'm probably going to switch to one at some point just because I like steel as opposed to brass. But this one's working great, so no need to fuck with it yet. Now, take your outer barrel assembled. You don't have to have the flash hider on if you want. I didn't want to take mine off because mine has Loctite on it. But what I was talking about earlier, this piece right here, see how it's got material removed and polished up? Well, when I first tried to put the kit together, this would not fit in there. So I had to MacGyver this. My old Dremel had to just couple of passes on it, I did a few passes with the Dremel, and a little bit of sandpaper got in there with in the corners there, and just very, very gently take a little bit of material off until you can get it in there. It should be snug. So once you got it fit to where you want, and again, you might notice that I have some Teflon tape on the outside of my barrel here. This is pretty common in a lot of airsoft guns. There's a little inner barrel wobble inside the outer barrel. Some people like to put a little O-ring on the end. Some people like to do this. I like to do this. I think it works better. The O-ring doesn't get jammed up in there. So just why I did that, in case you're wondering what that was. So very carefully, with the hop-up screw facing to your 12 o'clock of the outer barrel, insert it in there, and there's your hop-up screw. I like to line it up right with this mock gas tube here, and then see, it's tight fit. It should be tight fit. That you are almost positively going to need a rubber mallet or a plastic mallet, something to just, for the first time you assemble this. Alright? But like I say, it'll get looser over time. As you see, it should be flush. That shell should be flush with the outer barrel. Now, I had some outer barrel wobble, so I added a shim, 2 shims actually, right here. The gun had come with some shims, but you can buy any sort of AR-15 shims will work. You might have to snip them and a little bit to get them in place, but the MSK should come with 2 or 3 barrel shims already inside the hop-up chamber or near the hop-up chamber when you take it apart. So I had to reuse those to make sure my outer barrel had no wobble. So now you're ready to go. You got your rear hop-up chamber installed, set screw installed, feed tube installed. Okay? You're going to very carefully mate your quick detach barrel, same way it came out of the gas rifle originally. Drop it in with the gas tube at 12 o'clock. Should fit in there nice and easy. Just let it sit in there and get your crank over here, and then just tighten it till it's snug. As you can see, my shim alleviated any wobble I had, so that is ready to go. Your up receiver and hop-up chamber is all set. Okay, the only thing left to do in the upper receiver is install your bolt carrier group and your recoil spring guide rod. So the recoil spring guide rod, which I didn't take apart because mine's kind of permanently assembled, unless I want to break the glue, there is a pin right there. It goes right through. It holds this piece onto the recoil spring guide rod of your MSK. This is the spring that Tony's going to send you. It's quite stiff at first, especially, and even now it's still quite stiff. It is not the same spring as the regular MSK. That one will not work, so make sure you don't get them mixed up. It's pretty obvious which one's which when you see them next to each other, but I don't have one for reference. So what I like to do, especially since I didn't do it the first time, was you're going to punch out your pin with a small punch or a flat. I have a small precision screwdriver set that I like to use, the little tiny ones. You punch that pin out. This is going to come off. You're going to take your spring, slide it on, hold it back just like that again. You're going to push that piece back on and insert your pin. When you insert your pin back, I advise you to put a little drop of super glue on it. I had an issue at first with recoil making that pin pop out, and it actually got jammed inside my bolt carrier. And you can see this, I don't know if you can see it, but in there is a little tiny little mess up from it hitting that steel pin. So I actually jacked that pin up and had to go find a new one, source a new one to replace it. So same thing on the rear, has the same kind of pin. Punch that one out and super glue it. There's no reason not to. You don't need to take this apart. It's pretty easy to clean without taking the spring off of. Okay? I advise you to Loctite and glue all sorts of little things, little pins like that, because you will lose them. Just make sure that this little tail piece is sitting at the 12 o'clock of the recoil spring guide. So 3 and 9 on this side, 12 o'clock on here. Okay? Now your bolt carrier group should be nice and brand new and clean, but wipe it down anyway before you start putting it together. You never know what happens in the mail. Bunch of crap getting there. You don't want that, so take your plunger out and be right back. Got my little towel over here. So make sure you wipe down all your stuff here. Okay? Wipe down your little thing. I like to use Q-tips with rubbing alcohol to get inside of here and any little crevices. See, you get a little black crap on there. I barely use this since I cleaned it. It gets dirty real quick. One other thing to point out, it'll come assembled like this, okay? Down in here, there's a screw. It holds your air tank inside of your bolt carrier. See how it moves ever so gently? What I do, and I had to because I had an issue with it backing out and coming loose. I put just the littlest, tiniest bit of blue Loctite on that screw. Tony does not recommend this, so just be aware of that. He does not Loctite that screw. You do not usually need to. I had an issue, so if you don't want to do that, just please, after every a couple thousand rounds, just check that screw, because if that shears off or if that comes loose, you're going to have a bad day, okay? And I'm not sure how much a new air tank costs, but I'm sure it's not cheap. So, again, just be careful. Back here, you have your air shaft. This is the air shaft collar. It's got 4 grub screws on it. These need red Loctite, okay? Go out and buy yourself some red Loctite if you don't already have it, alright? Your Daytona gun requires some screws to be permanently adhered. That's one of them. This is under a lot of stress from recoil, and you need some heavy duty thread lock, okay? So you're gonna back them out. I took mine out completely, alright? Took it off and just cleaned underneath it just because why not? You're already taking it apart, might as well clean it. Take it apart, clean it, and then make sure the collar sits where you'll see where the collar sits. It's got a little groove on the air shaft that you can't mistake. put the collar back where it goes. And then to each little tiny grub screw, they're only a couple millimeters. So if you drop one, they're going to be impossible to find. So again, do this somewhere clean and safe and be neat. Right before you put it back together, red Loctite, just a little drop on every single screw. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this will never come loose. I promise. So right now we're almost ready to get this upper receiver built. Get some in there because you just need to. Alright? Get some is very important all around. All your O-rings require lubrication to work properly. I have upgraded O-rings on mine, so they're a little bit larger than most, so they assemble a little bit tighter. Yours probably won't be that tight. Now, mating up your recoil spring guide rod with your boat carrier. Just like the MSK came, it's going to go in the same way. Into 12 o'clock. Get it on the little axis right there till